Welcome to the new Millenium Podcast. Bros, I'm just sitting here smoking weed. Actually, I'm about to roll up another blunt. It's January the 1st, 2017. I'm already super high, as you can probably already tell. And I have to turn in a podcast. I have a goal of turning in a podcast every single month. And it turns out, I've been off just living the dream for 4 days straight, bro. And I forgot that I had to turn in a podcast, bro, before the end of January. I have a whole month before I have to turn in a podcast. All they expect of me is to turn in one podcast per month. That's the contract that I have. Justin has some insane amount that he has to do a year, but he's already ahead of the curve. I'm trying to get on that level. And actually my goal is to, do at least 24. This month or more, 24 or more. That's my slogan. But yeah, so Miss Martha comes up to me and she's like, "Where's your podcast?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I have to do one. I have to get it edited and everything." And she's like, "You have to have it in by midnight." And I'm like, "All right, I will." So yeah, bro. But this podcast is gonna have Gex, and it's an interview that I had with him. It's actually, a really dope interview. I had so much fun with him. It's my first ever West Coast guy, so it was cool sitting down with him. And, I don't know, it's just something about Gex that just represents, kind of, what I aim for on this show. Sort of obscure guys, but those guys have a story too, so a lot of the newer guys and a whole lot of the older guys that we don't really talk about. And I think that his story really shines through in this interview that we had here. He's a super fun guy. This was sometime at the tail end of 2016, and we just sat together and had a conversation, and man, yeah, like I said, he's definitely a bundle of joy. I think that it's going to come across in this interview when you listen to it, bros. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it, bros. If you hear... See, I have this other podcast. I haven't been sitting around just doing nothing, bro. I did do a podcast. I'm not going to lie, though. I did sort of wait till the last minute. I have to start back working again tomorrow. But then I'm going to have, another super huge weekend over the next, 3 weeks. At least. Maybe even more. But we'll see about that, bro. So, yeah. So you're going to hear probably another podcast of mine that I'm going to put out a little bit later, maybe a couple weeks from now, a week or two, I don't know. It depends on how things flow. But you're going to hear me say that same date, though, 1/31/2017, and that's because on this same date today, I recorded that intro for a podcast that I did a recording the previous night. So, yeah, it's just so that there's no confusion. That's why you're going to hear that date twice. And I'm going to probably be saying Happy New Year. And you're going to be like, bro, it's February. And yeah, so just know that that's an old podcast. But I just didn't feel like I was ready to put that one out just quite yet. I felt like this is a good way to bring in a new year. It's January 31st, and it's my first podcast of the year. Hope you enjoy. Alright, so Justin just randomly put me in the studio, and he showed me in here with Gex, and it's pretty cool because this is the first time that I got to be with somebody from the West Side, and the first time that I get to be with the person that I wanted. So that's cool.
That's great. That's really great. You know, this podcast game is really taking on a life of its own. That's right, though. You know, this podcast game's definitely taking on a life of its own. You know, all the different things going on. You got Grandpa Joe. You got Jazzmar, Mac Anthony 90. You know, it's a very interesting time to be an MTV star and a fan.
And it's just like, just the beginning of everything as well. But as far as you though, I mean, when you first came into the XTV, probably like around like 1997.
I would say, yeah, 97, 98-ish.
And I just remember during that time period, because we were doing SIDE, and we would always peek in on what was going on in XTV. Yeah. And you were just one of those guys that kind of confused everybody at first, because people thought that you were so much like James, and with him being so over at the time.
And I kind of look at that as the every time, back in the late 90s, I don't know if people really truly remember this, but if something was very successful, it would always be followed by something that's either a knockoff or a parody of it. And that's what James was. He was the 00 agent, and he was super over, and that was kind of the gimmick, when you look at it, because I was a 00 agent, but I'm a gecko. That's the joke,
Right.
And I'm doing all these, movie quotes and pop culture references, and that's what really made me stand out, from my peers, because I was the first ever guy to do a parody and XTV West.
So you were like a parody of 007?
Yeah, because the movie quotes and all the stuff I was doing, it was James Bond-esque.
Right.
Dixie Valentine really fucked my throat up, excuse me. But,
there's water here.
Yeah.
I have to switch myself. Dixie Valentine makes my throat hurt.
Yeah, Dixie Valentine.
So we were talking about, just, in the beginning, and, how you started things off. So, is that like kind of how the game was, Gex? Like, it was just like a bunch of different movie quotes?
Exactly. Like, that's what it was. The joke being that I'm a gecko, but being like James Bond, to the soccer moms, it was cute. And, it was kind of for everybody, really, that show, you know what I mean? The only thing that, didn't make me, like, the world didn't like me is because I swear, too, but, just the look of it was very unique. And, that whole era, the whole N64 era is rarely discussed in XTV history, but it was a very interesting era because you had MZ, you had everybody, and I think that was the first era where the sides over here, we were all one. When you look at the Super Nintendo era, that was just dominated by Mario and Pain. Well, not even Mario yet. It was just Diddy and Kong, Well, with the N64 era, it had more different people. It had Gex, it had MZ, it had James, and forgive me,
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong wasn't on 64.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, well, them and somebody else. I'm drawing the blank, but like we were all family. That's why when an incident happened that I think we'll touch on a little later with the N64 and Curtis. When that system broke. Like that messed us all up. It was a tragedy for us because all of us on N64 was affected, But it was a crazy time, It just, the N64 era is really discussed because it lasted so little,
Right.
Well, go ahead.
I mean, during that time period, though, like, who were you, so to speak, comrades with? Like, who were the shows that you were kind of going up against? Like you mentioned Super Mario. So did you come in?
Go ahead.
Did you come in during a time that they were, already established, and so you kind of had to, like, get your name up? Like, how did that work out for you?
Well, it was like, the N64 era was already unique because of graphic wise. Nobody's ever seen a look like that up to that point. And so, the people was like Mario, and he already was super successful. MZ, he was way over, and who I was going to mention was Diddy Kong Racing. That's what I was going to mention. It was like all of us, we were all a family. Of course, Payne was on drugs and all that, so a lot of people didn't get along with him, and they was just hanging with him because of the fame. But that was the family, and it wasn't like we were competing with each other. It was just that we all were good at what we were doing, and we all stood out, with that era.
Yeah. It's just like you all had that like sort of that sort of look, and I think that you were compared a lot to Super Mario, because of just that beautiful, pretty look
The
that
cartoony
everybody.
thing, yeah.
So how were you received like as far as the West Side, and because the East Coast really didn't too much pay attention to the programming because of that because of it being so hard to tell the difference between Gex and 007. But how did that register to the West Side?
To the west side, I was still very, unique and popular, and I kind of had sort of like I can say, not a large following such as the people like James, but you can consider me a mid card. I'm still loved amongst my peers. You know what I mean? It's like I didn't have bad ratings. I just had steady ratings. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the Buzz Lightyear show compared to all the Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z shows that was on. It's like they're good, but you're not really remembering Buzz Lightyear like that. Even though it's good, but it's like it's not memorable. You know.
Is that how you feel about your show?
Yeah, definitely. Like cause I got a time slot after MZ. I was always like after MZ or after James. So Dee Dee and Abu wouldn't really be in the room once my show came on. I don't really have a lot of memorable moments. When you really break it down the Gex TV show, but I think what really happened, what really catapulted my success for the West Coast, is announcing with MZ. When we did CAW, of course.
Oh yeah, that's right. Taking a pause here, bros. I don't think that I mentioned at the top of the show that I'm breaking the rules here. They're saying that we can't play rock songs or whatever like this. But you know what? There's so many videos on YouTube that have copywritten content, and we're a private channel. We're not hurting anybody. So this is gonna rock.
Truly when I popped off on the West with CAW, being an announcer and all of that. And but the Gex show, as far as it didn't really last that long. Like I said, I came after MZ, after James, and it was just after Bob.
Afterthought, Bob.
Yeah. Sorry, Best.
Shout out to the Best. I want to have him as well, though. So that's really cool. I mean, so they casted you as an announcer, in CAW, and you were just pretty much with Mario. Which when you guys did the reunion, I thought that was so cool. Like a lot of people give you flack about your poems and the way that you obviously were inspired off of Joel Gertner. But I thought that the last one you did was really good.
Yeah, I was very unique at first. Because of the way I would kind of twist it up and make it my own. like me being with MZ was perfect. You know, we didn't really talk to each other. We all just did our shows, you know what I mean? And we all did our thing, you know, but it was like once you put us together, like the first Sides Uncensored, CAW, the first one was just so like great. It was brilliant, you know what I mean? Killer, of course, looks back and says that they ain't doing nothing but trying to be a fake ass ECW.
Of course.
And you know, looking back, that's what it was. But you got to understand, we truly were inspired. Like once
ECW created this whole thing for the West Side. It was very evident.
Definitely, like when we seen that invasion angle, you know what I mean? I remember that night. It was in '01, of course, and they did the invasion. When ECW came and Paul Heyman's promo, like the energy he used, and you know that doesn't get talked about enough because everybody truly hates the invasion angle. Like even Vince McMahon, they said he's going on record to say that. But you know that promo, the whole ECW, it just made us like, man, you know, I want to know some ECW stuff. And then Super Duper wanted to play ECW Hardcore Revolution, and Joe was like, nope, that's my game. You know, and it's just that right there made us feel so bad. We were like, man, I gotta do something, man. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make CAW.
Right.
And the first CAW was actually in '01, but it was just one show. It was just Sides versus ECW, and just incredible for Lord 007 in this crazy match. And it was wild. Super Duper's eye, he almost poked his damn eye out because he put a pole on a pillow and jumped off for 3 crates onto the pole, and
that's
the pole
crazy.
hit him. Yeah, it hit him and it cut him like right here.
That's crazy.
But it's like if it was like right here, just a little more close, his eye could have got popped
That's
out.
extreme, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's just like, you know, when it came to CAW, you know, you guys took it there.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it's just like, you know, you're explaining, like jumping off of 3 crates. I mean, you know, when we used to do SIDE, you know, it got to a point where, you know, when me and you know, my brother would come out, we would do these like crazy, you know, TLC matches, and you know, we'd be up against like Rey Mysterio when his partner was Kidman at the time. They were the Filthy Animals, and we just had this crazy program. But my point is that, you know, I would do the Swan Time off of 2 crates, you know, and you know, to us it was high, but you know, to do 3 crates was like insane.
And you know,
insane.
And you know what's even more crazy is I'm just, you know, it's crazy because as I think about CAW, like I remember nothing but crazy moments, you know what I mean? Like stuff that you guys didn't get to experience.
Exactly.
Like the time that Super Duper, I think Little 007 spoke on this, when he was trying to get out the gate, you know what I mean? He was trying to, like, it was a cage match, and he was using that cage in the backyard. You remember the cage door? I mean, the gate?
Right,
the
right. And it had the, yeah, exactly.
Super Duper used the ladder to climb over the gate, and he fell, and he was hanging upside down, you know what I mean, from that gate. And it was just like, dude, like, and he fell.
That's extreme.
On the damn ladder, like, head first. Like, I'll never forget that. And he wasn't hurt. You know what I mean? Even he was shocked. He was like, that shit ain't hurt. You know, but you see what I mean? But it's ECW, like, that influenced it. And, you know, as much as Killer, like I said, this is that era. Says we were taking it there. You know what I mean?
I don't remember what interview it was, but somebody was speaking on CAW, and they were saying that, you know, like, there was creative about having somebody buy a ladder, a table, get on top of the garage roof, and jump through the table.
Yeah,
that would have been epic.
Tony B was really tripping, you know. He was going to do a lot with CAW. Like, that's one thing you don't know. Like, he was going to do a lot with it. Like, he was so inspired by ECW. He really wanted his own wrestling. At one point, he was going to go in the neighborhood, try to find some guys that like wrestling, and get his own thing going like that. Yeah. He was that into it. It was in his heart. You know?
It was evident that, like, you know, everything that you're saying is like, it was so evident back then at that time.
Yeah, I mean, and he loved it. Like, he wanted to just take it to that next level. And it's crazy how CAW truly just became its own thing. Because, like I said, off rip, we were trying to be ECW. I was trying to be Joe Burton. MZ was trying to be Joey Styles. Mm-hmm. But truly, not this interview, please. Please.
I'm in character, bro.
You're stupid. But anyway, so, you know, we were just doing all kind of different shit.
Yeah, and, you know, the thing about ECW, I mean, CAW, not to get you off track, but it's just that, like, I mean, to me, it seemed to develop brand new talent, you know, because that's where we discovered, you know, NMM, you know, and all these...
No, not NMM. Not
NMM. Oh, he's from WWE? Oh, yeah, he was. So, but he never, crossed paths then.
No, actually, he came like when CAW eventually got, damn, this story's never been told. I thought about it. Shit. WWE bought out CAW.
Bite that, Jazz Marv.
Yeah. WWE bought out CAW, and it had like that's where Team War 1 best spoke on this. Team War 1 and Team War 2. That's when CAW invaded the WWE, but truly the WWE bought out CAW, and we did our own little invasion thing, and that was a great angle, But people will tell you, go ahead.
Wait, who got invaded?
The WWE, because they bought us out and they did their.
Oh, right.
Yeah, see what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was CAW versus ECW versus the WWE. Like, that's what was going on. And it was a great storyline, In my opinion, I just think that it went on a bit too long. And, like the talent that came from CAW that went to the WWE, they weren't that successful aside from Payne and Best. You know what I mean? Who already left CAW, before it even closed down like that. And even Moonsault, he wasn't that good in the WWE. He was better in TXG. You know what I mean? But yeah, everybody went back and they were trying to change. I remember 90 was talking to me. They were trying to change 90 into the lovable Flamingo character. And, he was already into a bit of a character crisis around that time.
Is this after the Black Flamingo and everything?
Yeah, after all that. This is way after SIDE. And, he's just not really he's not that guy, you know what I mean?
Right, things were starting to change.
Yeah, and they were trying to give him the lovable Flamingo gimmick to get him some type of thing going, and that's when he left, the WWE. I mean, yeah, the WWE, that is. But I'm way ahead, I apologize. But going back to CAW, man, like I remember, I talked about the moment from the gate. I remember Monster was going to fight Too Hot in a broken elbow match. It was 1,000 feet high, steel cage, figure it out. But it's super duper, truly like imagining this, taking it to that next level. You know what I mean? He wants to outdo ECW. He loves it. Instead of getting on 3 crates, he climbs on 4 crates.
That's insane. It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is insane.
Yeah, and it was wobbly.
4 crates is.
It was wobbly.
3 crates is. It's like 3 crates is high, and exactly that's what makes that insane, because when you get on top of like 3 crates, like three or more, it becomes very unstable. So that 4th crate, it's down there, no balance.
Yeah, and he's big. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what makes it even more crazy. But we had that was CAW Broken Cross. That's why we held that up. Gangsters for the gangsters. It had the Babyface song. That was the theme music for it. I'm gonna play it. Like after this, even though we don't have internet pictures. But yeah, he did 3 crates, and that was CAW Broken Cross, our best pay-per-view. Which wasn't even supposed to air the date it aired, but Zoop loved the card so much where he was like, man, I can't wait another week. I got to do it now.
So they did it early?
Yep, and it was so successful. Like, at that point in 2002, that was the best thing we ever recorded. And Soup listened to it so much, it got popped in 03, I want to say.
And when did it come out?
It came out in 02. It came out, probably... It
lasted a year. It was so good, though, that you just played it out.
We couldn't stop. Like, when we used to have bad days at school, like, that's what he would play, like, CAW Broken Cross, and he'll just be like, damn, I can't believe...
Where did that take place?
In the Cheshire Dome. A lot of classic events there. Sable was there. Ginger was there. And I remember, like, Sable was like, he was into that damn broken elbow match. Because, like, how the fuck is this motherfucker going to climb 4 crates? He did it.
Sometimes it would be so disappointing when, like, like a great show would be going on, and then, Sable or Ginger would be there, and then they walk out.
Yeah, Sides Uncensored.
It's like, that's enough of this shit.
I'll never forget that. Sides Uncensored with Wolverine versus Best. All you hear is like Ginger's about to leave and Soup's mad because it's like, oh, you don't think it's a good show? It's like, get out of here then, Ginger, get out. And then all you hear is, he hits her with the door by accident. Yeah, stuff like that will go on. I'm yet to talk about the chemistry with me and MZ, but
how was that?
Brilliant, and a lot of people were thinking like, how is this going to work? MZ's known for this colorful, cartoony kind of thing. He kind of has that fan base. Me, I'm similar,
Exactly.
But I'm just a parody of James, But we work together well, and we had the greatest time, like seriously. And this is another time, 02 is when we didn't really know the direction XTV was going to go again, because like we lost Action 2, and you know just certain things were just different, and you know times were changing, and you know CAW became that thing. It was sides uncensored for real, because it was like Flamindo versus D. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's never happened until CAW. That's
Yeah.
dude and dude
New
versus,
matches can happen.
Exactly, dude and dude versus Luke
and Duke.
You know what I mean? The Crazy Brothers, crazy ass matches too. You know, and that's one thing, Killer. Like those guys weren't a parody of no other tag team. Like they weren't trying to be Perry Saturn and Cronus. They were them old.
Yeah, they were original.
You know, CAW had a lot of original elements. It was just inspired heavily by ECW. Because I'm not.
But that's what's so cool about CAW, the way that it just spawned its own thing, and although we didn't completely tune in all the time, we knew that it was its own thing, completely separate from Sides. Is that why they called it Sides Uncensored?
Exactly, because we were cursing more. We were doing things, it was turned up. Me and Payne had a great ladder match. You know what I mean? That's another thing. It was crazy. And that's when MZ's voice started to be the voice of XTV, which people rarely give him credit for. But MZ at one point was one of those voices.
He was.
You know what I mean? And it was like, he was that guy. And I just feel like, bless MZ, but I just think his downfall was so bad that people don't really remember.
Was it the gay thing?
Things. It was him, the transsexual title.
Transsexual?
Like truly, that was so stupid. And as a result, I think that's what made him just, become sort of.
But that's not really fair when you think about it. I mean, and the same thing with ODD. You have these great legends. These guys who, really set milestones for XTV. For a certain time. And although we've obviously surpassed that, that doesn't mean that you can just shit on these guys' legacy and not give them that just due. And that's kind of why I wanted to have you on, because I feel like you're one of the people who don't get enough light shined on them and enough credit. But you were there. You were a part of that 64 brand that you mentioned, and although it was short-lived, it was a very important time in XTV.
Exactly, and I appreciate this, because a lot of people have blacklisted me, believe it or not even XTV West Coast. I had a very unsuccessful announcing thing on XTV when we were doing Raw and SmackDown, and I was supposed to be the main voice on Raw and SmackDown, but I wasn't talking as much, you know what I mean? It was the normal guys, Trunks, Killer, and I wasn't really one of those voices, and the fact that I wasn't used. And then I did a commercial, Gex Code, and it was supposed to be Geico, but Gex Code, and it was so lame.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was so lame that they were like, Gex, we're never using you again. And truthfully, like, that's what it was. It was like so bad, and it's just compared to the stuff that they were doing in the commercials, like Ada, she had chips, and like we were doing different things with that in mind. It's just so unsuccessful, and I'm not really announcing, and
So somebody took your spot as the announcer?
Yeah, I believe that was Faz actually. Faz came in, and he was the main announcer.
In like 03?
Yep, 03, because it was supposed to be MZ and myself, but it became MZ and Faz because I was so lackluster. Yeah.
Taking this time out once again, bros, to break the rules. It's time for another song, because you know how I feel? I feel like the New Millenium Podcast is nothing without my music. I'm trying to make myself different, bros. I want to stand out, and this is the way I stand out, by playing some of my favorite stuff and giving off the cool vibes. Hopefully you pick it up too. If you don't, then you can just press fast forward. Right, Justin? I want to thank you, man, for letting me use your your space here. Well, no, ain't no problem, yo. Cause it's just like I told. Did you tell him what I told you to say? I think it's better when you say it, bro. Let me tell you something. This his life. Doing his life, he do what he want to do with his time. That's right, bro. So if he feel like playing his rock and roll songs, that's what he gonna play. So kiss my ass, YouTube. You wanna sit there right now? Oh, yeah, copyright. Motherfucker, all the shit that's copyrighted on motherfucking damn YouTube. Kiss my ass, nigga. See, I can't say that, bro. So here it is. so you kind of take a sabbatical off of the announcing, and how did you end up announcing with Bob?
With Bob, I believe my success in CAW, because like you said, the East Coast would just peep their head in, and I believe my success with CAW, me being one of the voices, kind of, went there.
Okay.
And me and Bob were announcing, and
you guys were a great duo,
Bob
surprisingly great.
It's just that you can put me with anyone. I truly get along with anyone. But like at that point, and I do understand where Best is coming from. It is a different Bob, you know what I mean? It was like at first he was just always down for you, you know what I mean? No matter what. Even if you had a lackluster poem match, he would be there. Mm-hmm. And I remember that one recording, you know what I mean? I had Dead or Well line, and it wasn't good, and he said, "You suck. You used to be good, but now you're not anymore. You suck."
Yeah, I think that with Bob, his problem, or just one of the things about him is this, that, he kind of just looks at things at face value, and one thing that he doesn't necessarily do is, give things a chance.
He doesn't really critique things like
it's like if he doesn't like it, it's like it's trash.
Yeah, and it's like if we're your friend, you know what I mean? You don't insult a friend. You don't say you suck, you're horrible. You don't do that. You tell them, look, man, you pull them aside and you do the respectful thing, the friendly thing to do. Maybe you are too smart to have a friend, man. Maybe. You know what I mean? Because, well, that's just how I feel. It's like he feels like he's so smart and so superior, and I get it. Your IQ, good. I understand where you come from. But
I never even look at it that way, though.
No, that's just what he told us on Jazz Mars podcast. You know what I mean? That's what he said. He said he's IQ, he's intelligent, so he just says things, truly how he feels, and it's just he's smart. But it's like,
I didn't know that Bobby was a gimmick.
Think about it, and that's why it's like, like I can't truly get mad at him for saying that, but I just remember the good times, and the good times were great. Like we had fun, you know what I mean?
You guys were great.
Well, like Sides of Mania, my first and only Sides of Mania 4, It's like it's so fresh. Super Duper's back from that place, the home and shit, and everybody's like, we're ready.
And it was just so great at the time because they would have the A and the B side, and I don't know how things were separated. I don't know why there
was a SmackDown and there was a Raw.
There was.
Yep.
So there was guys on SmackDown and Raw. Like how did you decipher who was on whose team?
Because Super Duper and Joe were unorganized as hell. God bless them. But yeah, like they.
So both guys a guy could be on Raw and SmackDown.
Nah, it was a draft. And we just started to forget, and after a while we were just like, fuck it, cause like I remember Bob was on SmackDown, and he's like, I'm a SmackDown guy. We got him on recordings, like we were trying to really separate it. We were trying to do the draft thing, and it didn't really work out.
It's hard to do that when you don't have.
Because we were flipping coins, like it's time for you guys to announce. It's time for you to announce. What?
Oh, okay.
That's how it means.
Okay, I see. Yeah, the thing about that is just that, like you guys played that so well. Like, Justin and Trunks would be Justin and Trunks, and it was very rarely that somebody would slip in by accident.
Yeah, because
you guys really had it under control.
Because Trunks had slipped in on me and Bob, and then Bob was like, "You're not supposed to be here, man." It was so damn white, so only get out of here. I'm sorry, but that's how I was. Like, you're not supposed to be in here. Get back to your spot.
That's so Bob, though. Exactly. It's just like immediately shutting things down. Shout out to Bob Classic. He's got heat, and
I mean,
he does.
Not from here.
No, I'm not saying like from you, but just with certain guys, and it's come out during doing these podcasts. You listen to him, you see all these different people's perspective about Bobby, and it's just like he does have heat with certain people, like legit heat. 80s guys done shoots on him, big Trunks, and people have just the best. People have mentioned things about him that like how he's affected them, and it's just not coming out. That's just so crazy.
Anytime you just, I don't know, man. Like I just think that Bob just had a certain way he used to handle things back then, and maybe he's a lot more mature. It's been a while before since me and him communicated about anything. So I don't know, man. But that's why I say much success to him. I'm not holding any hard feelings. 05 to me was my peak year. Like athletically, I was great. I remember me and James teamed up, TXG TV. And
you and James, how did that come about?
We were just going through a lot of similar things, and we feuded with Best and Trunks. on TXG TV, and that was a funny ass feud. You know, we had so many tapes.
What was that? What was TXG TV? Was that like a radio show, or was it a wrestling thing, or what?
It was a wrestling show. It was the last wrestling show for us, and it just came about when we had TXG versus the WWE. And, you know, from there, it just said, man, this is TXG TV. It was probably Trunks that kept saying that. And Trunks became the voice out of nowhere of TXG TV. And that's when he
just
started
with that catchphrase.
Yeah, that's when he started to, TXG TV. Right. That's when he started to blow up.
You sound just like him.
Yeah. And me and James, man, like I used to wear this tie. I was in shape. I'm kind of fat now. I'm a little more fat. You know. But back then I was in shape. I had a wife and kid, and you know.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm just thinking about what you just said.
I'm fat. But yeah.
That's great. That's so great, bro. Well, yeah, man. It was great talking to you. You know, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. You know, one last question though. Like. What have you been doing like ever since you know you left TV? I mean, you came back for that one Sides Uncensored. I mean, you know, what have you been doing since then?
Since then, I just been watching XTV. Really, I haven't been really involved in much. You know,
I think you should be though. You know, I think you're definitely a voice. You know, and I think that you're somebody who could definitely be a staple. You know, have a place in XTV. Definitely.
And I hope so. You know, it's just the reception over here on the West Coast of those two very lackluster performances has me kind of in a hole and not right with a lot of people. I definitely relate to Trunks' story on the discussions recently uploaded. It's like his actions were so uncalled for and so bad that he's on the sort of chopping block, if you will, and like me not announcing was already like iffy, like he's not even talking, and then the commercial was so bad, where it's just like no, they don't want anything to do with me. I'm like, what's his name? If you move, that guy,
Yeah, but it's not like you did something so bad that it's like you're blacklisted, as you were saying.
For XTV West, like that's how they feel. That's what it is. It's like,
but I think that's just the West Side thing, though. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's just that's such a West Side thing that I noticed. They completely just shut people out. They shut out Faz, and at a point they even shut out the Pain, and he's one of those guys who actually was able to come back and show like I'm formidable. I'm as good as anybody on your roster. Look, I just beat your top guy, and he doesn't even want to give me the championship. That's not a blow to you, Bobby, but yes, it's just the truth. And it's just like a lot of XTV West guys have so much potential, but it's like they can't fulfill that because they're always held back by the top dogs.
Yeah, and that's what Wells, his battle cry was, if you will, when he did what he did. Yeah. That's what that was from. It was like, how
that's understandable. He's like one of the first persons to speak out about that and say his opinion, and he's like a pioneer in that way.
Yeah, and a lot of people are.
And he's so good.
They take that incident, and they really reestablish their thoughts. Cause like when you look at that point in 2012, who were the top guys? 80s and Dean. But how long have they been on top? You know what I mean? Wells, he said it on his podcast. He said he beat Blood twice in 2 different Last Man Standing matches that year. I remember that. And he beat Dead in the Last Man Standing. And he beat all these different people. You know what I mean? Now it's his turn, and they don't want to give it to him. They want to just make some, storyline up between the guys we've always been seeing. Okay. And, that's why I say with the Wells' thing, and him even uploading that podcast and that voice being out there, I think that's making people step up their game and, look at themselves. Payne shouldn't have had to work as hard as he had to work to get back to it, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It shouldn't have been that hard for Payne to come back.
I think that, with that being said, though, it's kind of, the cycle of XTV when you think about things. I mean, even people like Yosi and, you think about, we were talking about 90%, how he fell off. It's kind of like just a thing that happens because, so much new talent does come in. Like, it kind of gives room for people like, NMM and Moonsault and, like anyone, including myself, just to, show up and, be able to have a voice and, take a shot. I love the idea of like brand new characters coming in. But I see what you're saying though. You don't want the same old stuff. But I just think that at the time, when they were doing Charles Dean versus
even though it's one of the greatest,
it is, and it lived up to expectation. It had to be done. it absolutely had to be done. Like, if not then when? So it's like Wells just kind of had to wait his turn,
and I gotta say this, if you guys don't think that Dean in '80s is the best storyline, like all you have to do to me is watch the first Raw and SmackDown.
We're binge watching. We're binge watching.
Just
right
watch that until you get to Action in Orlando, and then see the match, and then see the repeat. It's like it's the greatest. You know what I mean?
Those matches are both 5 out of 5 stars.
In my opinion, I just feel like this third one that Miss Martha announced. You just never know. You know what I mean? It is a different game. You know what I mean? And these guys are different. You know what I mean? Their age is different.
Yeah. But I think that, before XTV Mania happens, I think that there should be like, not only just like time to build everybody and get everybody situated, but I think there should even be like another month. I don't think that XTV Mania should be rushed just for the sake of doing it, because, certain things can go wrong. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about it, but certain things can go wrong that you may not be prepared for. I think that if you're able to develop the skill of and understand the new dynamics of the new game better, then potentially better matches can happen.
Exactly. That's a great way to look at it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like with the incidents kind of happening with Trunks' match and all the things that was going on, the controllers changing in the middle of the fight. A lot of people don't look at that. The controllers changed in the middle of the fight. You know what I mean? And Justin continues to say things like, "Oh, Trunks, you should have kept training. You should have kept training." Right.
And
it changed in the middle of the fight. You know what I mean? How can you train for some shit, some random glitch like that? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can't prepare for that.
Thank you. And it happened. And I remember, dude, like that was the first. Not the first time. The last time. That's when they had fought. And then Trunks was like, he was doing okay. And then it was like. It changed, and that's why if you watch the match, you see us put pause, and we're like, how the fuck it changed in the middle of the fight? You know what I mean? Just imagine that shit. Like, you're doing what you're doing, you're doing your thing.
Yeah, but at the same time, in regards to that match, he started to do so much better, though, once they had got past that, and then, he was doing better, and, I don't know, Payne was just a better man.
Yeah, Payne definitely was the better.
He just was.
Because
Trunks was struggling the whole time.
Yeah, he was. At first, though. Like, at first, he was struggling. You know what I mean? But that's what happened. And it's like, if that shit could happen in that match, who knows what could happen with Killers? You know what I mean? The controller changing like
exactly.
That.
Yeah, and so that's why you have to know the control.
It's not that other person's fault that shit happened.
It's not necessarily, but it's like, if you know the controls, then you'll know, from the first punch to reset it, as opposed to getting 3 minutes into the fight.
Mill, you mean to tell me, have a match, a boxing match, you know what I mean? Okay, and just pause it each time, you know what I mean?
No, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that with proper training, like, all I'm saying is, like, not rushing into doing XTV Mania, and just taking, like, taking our time and learning, the controls and learning how it develops, because... so that those different things don't happen, and if they were to happen, we would be able to catch them faster.
Yeah,
and be able to understand
how the hell that happened. Because I still feel like Trunks was supposed to win that match, but as far as that match though, Payne and Killer, like I just don't.
Who's your pick?
My pick, it's Killer for a number of reasons. Like, Killer to me is a more formidable opponent. He's a lot more faster. He's quicker. And the funny thing is, this match was supposed to happen after Trunks and Payne the last time.
It's so much bigger now, though.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's ginormous.
Because Killer is already solidified. He's a legend. Let's just put it out there. The stuff that he's about to do, the stuff he's done up to this point.
He's trailblazed. He's trailblazed. And he's gotten to a point where, like, he makes everybody else look like they have to get to that level, but it's kind of hard to because he's done so much. He's put his face out there in so many ways and doing so many different things that nobody can touch him.
And there's a big rumor in XTV, with 90s podcast being as successful, they're saying Killer could be on his podcast. That's just a little rumor floating.
On 90s podcast?
Yeah.
That's going to be huge.
Killer's a big fan of 90.
Exactly.
And 90 used to
90 does interesting podcasts. If you listen to him, each and every one of them are, just like he just has to me, he has the best guests. He has the most consistency and, like, hard-hitting guests, in my opinion. Every episode is insane. I haven't even listened to the dead one yet. We tried to hear it in the truck, but we're just gonna play it in the
You try to play it with the headphones.
Yeah, with the headphones.
In the beats.
But every episode is just like bananas. Who's he had so far? He had himself on there. He's had Dead on there. But who was his first
Trunks.
couple guests?
Trunks
was
came
big.
on twice, and he had someone else.
I
we
love
have
them all.
unreleased episodes of 90s. 90 has unreleased episodes, I should say. He has one with Travis Johnson. The reason we haven't uploaded that yet is because we're like, man, they don't know who this guy is. You know what I mean? And
That's great though. This is the perfect time for all these different peoples to come out. And that's why I feel like somebody like yourself, like this is the perfect time. And I remember Justin said once, nobody's ever completely washed up, because there's always a way to come back and reinvent yourself. And so anybody can all you have to do is just be able to tell your story.
Yeah.
So
definitely. But this XTV minute, excuse me, whenever it comes up,
Fat Gex.
Yeah, Fat Gex, definitely fat. That poem though, man, going back to the last CAW, like I did have a good time though. It was just like, it truly was like just watching older people. It was so older now. You know what I mean? Cause just looking at it, like even how Super Duper created those guys, it was just like, damn, I ain't seen you in years. Big boy.
Those were great matches. One of my favorites was when Wolverine wrestled up against F-Spiral.
Wolverine, he always was a very great competitor. I know artists had a few choice words for him, but he always was very great.
Because they had a battle going back and forth.
Yeah, and
great story.
He was a bit of a, I think he was a bit of a jackass to people, but to me, he was always great. He always treated me good. But that last CAW was very funny. It's always like that with Killer's matches. I just want to put that out there. Every time in CAW history, when it's his match, he can be third on the card. It's like the sixth match.
It has the strongest reaction.
Yeah, it's like the sixth match, and we're still talking about him. CAW Indestructible, although the whole card was good, it's almost main event time, and we're still like, I still can't believe that damn match. Like, we're just talking about Killer. We're like, why the fuck does Killer do things like this? And this is when he was like just so
there should be
bad.
a CAW Hall of Fame.
Yeah, definitely.
It definitely should be.
Because we did trailblaze a lot, and we came after SIDE. To come after SIDE, which was a big organization, and then do our own thing. Of course, inspired by something else, but make it our own thing and have our own unique moments. You know what I mean? Because those moments, those weren't repeat moments from ECW. Those was something that we can look back on and say, yeah, that shit was crazy.
It was organic.
And CAW is going to be remembered, even though Dixie was the owner. Dixie was the owner. That's not Paul Heyman. That's not Todd Gordon. That's Dixie. You know what I mean?
How was that? How was that dynamic? And how did she do? Because she was just a little girl at the time.
We got a recording of the CAW story, and like it's just so quiet, but it's like she goes, she's like, I don't know why they came to me and told me to get my own wrestling organization. I just learned how to play my pussy. I don't know about this shit. I'm playing with my new toy. I'm like, why the fuck did I say that? But no, she was just like she was a little kid. She was a little girl.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of people are angry at her, saying that she didn't give us our checks back, and all these checks bouncing. Nobody got their. A lot of people say they didn't get that last check. I'm one of them, but I'm the one that understands. She was a little girl.
Sounds like WCW.
Exactly. Some people call her the Paul Heyman of XTV. The checks bouncing, and she's like,
poor kid.
I'm going to shoot this commercial in Virginia. And then, I'll bring your check back. And, we just believe her because she's a little girl, you know what I mean? And she's just cute, She owns her own business. Oh, how cute.
How did that happen?
Fucked her that money, Lucy, she, like I said, she tells the story. She said they just came up to her, look, you're doing good. You want to own your own wrestling organization?
What, when she was doing Dee Dee and Dixie?
This is after that. That's the crazy part.
And she was still popular.
Yeah, she was definitely popular, amongst everybody. And she says people came up to her, asked her to do CAW. She was the owner of it. And, it was a great company. We made the moments, and she just owned it. You know what I mean? That's really how it was. It wasn't like she really had no part in it.
So she never showed up to ringside and participated or anything?
Oh, yeah. She fought Princess Peach a few times. They got into a feud. Wait a minute, I got something on my Facebook notification. Fake ass Francine and Don Marie.
That's so funny.
Looks like I got a video too.
It's true. They was on the catfight on CMZ lame ass. Don't care what nobody say. They was a fake ass Francine and Don Maria. Oh, they catfighting. They used to say that on TMZ, you know, because Joey Styles did the catfight shit. He was like, they catfighting. Oh, yeah, because you ghetto with it. Catfighting. That's all I'm going to say. It's perfect.
Oh man,
I gotta say, even though Killer is right though, that's exactly what it was. It was them trying to be that, and you know, Yanitha, she was
Unitha?
yeah. Oh man, I'm having memories. But really, she was the fake Don Marie. She was always like stupid and like dim with it. You know what I mean? There's no crying in the CW. I think Trump said something. There ain't no crying in CAW. Something like that. Damn, he was a fake ass CW man.
Trunks was CAW?
He was trying to be like him though. He was like, ain't no crying in CAW, little girl.
That's hilarious.
Shut up.
Oh my god.
And then yeah man, like they had a little feud and you know it lasted but the reason that didn't last, that feud, is because it was just such a wannabe, you know, or still it was like, damn, you know, you got all these unique things going on, the monster story and all this real original shit. Like, why the fuck am I still doing this? For what? You know.
Exactly.
But wannabe, definitely.
Oh man. Well, I think that's just the perfect way to finish this thing off. That was epic. Impromptu call in from the Killer. Gex, thank you so much for coming through, man.
No problem. We gotta do this again.
All right, bros. Finally got one podcast in for January at the last minute. I mean, it's dark outside. The hours are ticking down. It's like about to be 7 o'clock. Only 5 hours till I have to turn this podcast in and get it uploaded. Will I do it? Will I be successful? I sure hope so. It's like I'm in the process of editing it and recording the opening and closes of my shows. It's crazy, bro. I went and I had a little break. Just a moment ago, I went out and I ran into 90, and he's podcasting with Renee Young. It's just crazy. Everybody's doing podcasts. I was podcasting earlier on, and Justin was next door doing a podcast with Jackson and Sonia. So it's just like crazy. It's just like, you know, a smorgasbord of people doing podcasts. I think that's pretty funny. But yeah, bros, there you have it. I mean, Gex, the Gecko, man. Great stories. I mean, come on, like that was just like some awesome stuff. So many, you know, things that we didn't know. He's just like a wealth of knowledge and a great source to talk to about, you know, those different things that took place with, you know, Nintendo 64 and just during that time period. You know, stories that you're not going to get anywhere else. All the exclusives right here on the new Millenium Podcast. One more time, a very belated Happy New Year. Hope your year is full of all your New Year's resolutions coming true, and I hope it's going to be the best year ever. My condolences go out to the Rivers family, bro. You know, it started off real tragically, and I just want to say, you know, that we're going to always have Frank in our hearts. Shout out to the Monster. You know, I know that you're grieving around this time, bro. I just want you guys to know that we love you and that you're awesome. And we look forward to everything that you have moving forward, because we're going to stay strong and be strong in 2017 and rock on and march to a brighter tomorrow. Until next time, bros, I'm Brian Millman. This is the New Millenium Podcast, and I'll see you next time. Cheer!
Download the New Millennium Podcast using the Torch browser. By going to Google and downloading the Torch browser, and then going to XTV East Coast and hit the New Millennium Podcast.